Jenny Din's life revolves around her son, Aaryan. From the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to bed, Jenny is constantly monitoring him. Each morning, she wakes her son up to check for bruising. While Aaryan may look like any other 11-year-old boy, he's dealing with something most 11-year-olds will never have to go through. Aaryan has aplastic anemia.
Aplastic anemia is a rare blood condition that weakens the immune system. It happens when the bone marrow does not produce enough blood cells in the body. Aplastic anemia can either be acquired or inherited. In Aaryan's case, it's acquired, meaning the doctors do not know the exact cause of it.
Aaryan was diagnosed with aplastic anemia at age 10. Now at age 11, he and his parents are still learning to cope with this rare condition that affects 2 out of every 1 million people. Jenny and her husband Ali knew something wasn't right with Aaryan when they noticed large areas of bruising on his body. In November 2015, after 4 days in the emergency room at Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children and numerous tests, Aaryan and his family were given the results that would change all of their lives forever.
So I went to the hospital that night. I was in the hospital when the doctor came back and told them what the condition was. And you feel like I've never heard of aplastic anemia. I'd heard of anemia and I know what anemia is, but aplastic anemia. And when he said aplastic anemia, I thought, okay, it's just anemia. That's fine. And then they say how it's a rare, serious disease. Your heart just drops. I don't remember much after that. Like you don't, your brain kind of disconnects and you don't think about anything. So a lot of memories come back. So yeah, I think that was tough. That was for sure. That was tough.
After he was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, basically the routine was twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, to go into the hematology clinic, do blood work, and then, if needed, transfusions. And for 3 weeks, that's basically what he did. Mondays and Thursdays, blood work, a bag of transfusion, went home, and went back. Mid-December, December 9th, that's basically the day Aaryan was experiencing headaches, vomiting, and he wasn't himself. So we brought him back to Sick Kids Hospital, the emergency, and that was when we were admitted. He ended up having internal brain bleeding, intracranial hemorrhaging, and he was sent up to the intensive care unit. So from there, I remember going up to seeing him in that intensive care unit, and the amount of people that were there, it was just unbelievable. When they found out about the bleeding, their first priority was to control it, to stop it. They were scared, obviously, with any bleeding in the brain that it would affect him later on, some damage. So Aaryan was receiving platelet transfusions every hour on the hour. 48 hours, 48 platelet transfusions, numerous red blood transfusions, IVI transfusions. It was just a lot of things that were going in and out of him. And so you can imagine a little body on a bed, all these machines around him. It was hard to see. It was hard to look at, but we had to comfort him.
I don't know.
Do you know him?
No.
I like that picture. You should frame that. My goodness, look at all the chocolate on your face. This is the fireworks I bought from Kaboom. We were doing fireworks that night, and you were helping me. Did you see that? Do you remember that night? No.
Although there is no cure for aplastic anemia, a bone marrow transplant could help Aaryan live a longer, healthier life. The problem is that due to Aaryan's mixed ethnicity, being half Afghani and half Vietnamese, finding a match for him is extremely difficult.
If you are of Caucasian descent, you have a 90% chance to have a match on the registry. And then it decreases. Because Aaryan's mixed, he has, I believe it's 0.6%. So it's nothing. You know, do I want to say is it fair or not fair because of, you know, what he is made out of? He's made of, you know, Vietnamese and Afghan descent, and I can't change that.
What has been the hardest moment for you as parents throughout this whole process?
When your child looks at you, calling out for mom, and he doesn't recognize who you are. I think that haunts me every night. When we were in the emergency the second time around, because of the bleeding and where it affected his brain, he was incoherent, not knowing who or where or what was going on. Still knowing that he needed his mom, calling out for his mom, and we were literally staring at each other, and he couldn't recognize me. That's my personal part. That kind of, it almost ripped my heart out, because he's my baby, and for him not to know who I was, it was just unbearable. I mean, the entire ordeal has been, you know, horrific, a nightmare that we hope to wake up from one day. But the one moment, I think that's pretty much, that sums it all up.
Another issue with finding a donor is that only 10% of Canada's population is registered under One Match, a network created by Canadian Blood Services to help patients who require stem cell transplants find their match. Jenny thinks the shortage of ethnic donors in the Canadian registry is based on the lack of education in schools and diversified communities. This shortage is what led Jenny and Ali to create the Match for Ari campaign. It raises awareness of aplastic anemia and encourages others to register on One Match to help not just Aaryan, but all those in need of a stem cell transplant.
What I can do and what the Match for Ari campaign can do is to better the chances of others, to make sure they don't have to go through what our family's going through.
Although Aaryan is only a child, he is fully aware of his condition and how rare it is. He's gotten used to the long hospital visits, but hates the poking and prodding. So what do you like least about sick kids, about going to the hospital?
The blood work.
All the blood work? How many times do they try to poke you during one day? Yeah.
The most you can get is 2, but I only gotten 1 for a long time now.
When Aaryan was first diagnosed with aplastic anemia almost a year ago, he had to be homeschooled. But since then, he's been getting better. Thanks to his ongoing appointments at Sick Kids Hospital, he's able to go to school every day, but still needs to be cautious with those around him.
So you were told that you were kind of homeschooled for a bit. You had work sent to your iPad or something?
Yeah.
And you would FaceTime your teachers?
Mm-hmm.
Is that cool, or did you miss being in school?
I want to be in school.
You want to be in school? What do you like the most about school, other than math?
Recess.
Recess? Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, Aaryan and his family prepare for yet another one of those appointments. Since Aaryan and his parents live in Caledon, packing an overnight bag for early morning appointments has become all too familiar. The family heads out in the early evening.
So you could take your homework, right, Harry?
Check his homework. Do you have a laptop?
Yes.
You check yours.
Has there ever been a time where you both thought that you couldn't do this anymore?
All the time.
Yeah, but that's not an option, though. That you don't have that option. You gotta deal with it. It's a test that you've been given, and you have to make sure you get 100%. 90% is not an option. It's 100% or nothing. So, you can simply say, I can't do this anymore, but nobody's giving you that option. So for us, we had to stay strong for each other and for Aaryan. We were blessed that we had an amazing family on both sides, friends that were all gathered around us, that will help us out. But at the end of the day, it was between the three of us that we had to take care of things, and we had to ensure that he's healthy again. So was it difficult? Absolutely. I don't wish any parents to go through what we went through. To me, a child should never go through what we're going through or what he's going through. But that's something we can't control. You can't give up. You gotta fight every day, every minute, every second, and that's what got us through.
Aaryan and his family stay at a relative's condo in downtown Toronto. But before the family can settle in for the night, Allie and Jenny wipe down every surface to reduce Aaryan's chances of getting sick. After that, it's time for Aaryan to take his medication, a process he dreads doing twice a day. The medicine that Aaryan relies on is called cyclosporine. It helps his body accept blood transfusions. While the taste of his medication is unbearable, adding fruit juice helps mask it. This medicine helps Aaryan live as normal a life as he can. For now, the family goes about their night, not knowing what will happen tomorrow, or the day after that, or the day after that, but still hoping for the best.
That was my card.
No, it wasn't.
The next morning, before we go to bed, we just want to make sure that the next morning he's healthy and he's happy. It's hard. We put him to bed, and we don't know what tomorrow brings. So our future is not long-term right now. It's 24 hours. It's the next morning, and then when we get closer to his follow-up appointments at the hematology department, it's like, okay, I need to see that paper. I need to see what his blood work is. I need to be able to hear the comfort words from his doctor to tell us, he's okay, we'll see you guys back. It's hard to say next birthday. I used to plan his birthdays right after his current birthday, and now it's hard to, because I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. What we do know is, we will do whatever we have to do to make sure he gets through it, and he stays happy and healthy, and he can live as normal of a life as possible. That's our main goal right now.
Emily Srebotnjak, Ryerson Documentary Unit.